Hello, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do some first day school makeup. Now if in elementary or high school or even middle school, depends on how old you are and everything, but I'm sure a lot of people in middle school and high school are going to end up start wearing makeup anyways. So let's go ahead and do a full face for the first day of school and everything. If you're going to college and you're starting college classes, stuff like that. So first thing, make sure your skin is prepped, make sure it's moisturized and all that. Second thing, make sure if it's very hot, like towards the end of summer, end of fall, and the sun's out, the sun's about ready to go out, come out. Make sure you wear sunscreen and all that. Let it set in for a few minutes, because if you don't, your makeup is going to be cakey and doesn't look good and everything. As you can see, I'm skin prepped, because usually if you really are skin prepped, you see glow, you see the moisture and all that. Plus, I was outside, so that's no reason why I look the way I do. So the first step, if you are going to start wearing makeup, especially going to school and all that, and this is going to be a daily routine, always have, after the skin prep and skincare and everything, find a very good primer. Now, primer is always a key when you want long-lasting makeup. Now, it depends on type you have. If you have oily skin, then you want more like a grippy, matte type of primer. If you have combo, you could do that too. If you have dry skin, you want more a moisturizing, pore-filling type one. So I'm going to use the Face Knit Glue, also because of my Project Pan and everything, but still. So this is a very good primer. It does keep the makeup on for a long time. It does hold on. I have combo, and I tend to be more drier towards the end of the fall and winter, and I'm more combo during the summer, spring, because I used to be only, and then it went to combo, and then I get really dry during that time. So my skin has changed a lot throughout the years. So I like using pore filling type primers. I like using grippy primers, whatever, like I said, if you're just starting out, the key is skincare and know what type of skin you have, because that will help you throughout the day, especially with you being in school or starting school. And you guys know you're in for like hours, like over 8 hours, like early morning to late afternoon. So you're gonna have the makeup on for a really long time. So yeah. I remember going to school, truthfully, when I didn't start wearing makeup till middle school, beginning of high school. My mom, she didn't want me to wear makeup. She truly was like, I don't think you should wear makeup. I don't want the guys to try to get with you. You're just going to draw too much attention. You don't need guys to try to do stuff with you and all that. You look fine without makeup. You really don't need it. So it wasn't until my mom let me pick out some makeup. Like, I didn't go full glam. I didn't go full face. I didn't go full eyeshadow. Like, I literally was simple and easy when it come to that. Really the only thing that I put on, because I didn't know about primer. I didn't know about, all this step that you had to take for makeup. I would just put like lip product, eye mascara, maybe a little bit of eyeshadow, like a sparkly eyeshadow. But when it comes to actually full face, that was like 2 years later. And it's only because my aunt one year, she did buy me a makeup kit, actual real makeup kit, real makeup. My mom freaked out. She was like, oh my gosh, she's too young, she shouldn't be wearing makeup, I don't want her getting bad attention, things like that. So I learned throughout the years about concealer, powder, setting powder, sprays, primer, and then I learned about my skin. What type of skin do I have? What makeup works best for me? Do I want a lot of makeup? Do I want heavy makeup, didn't want a full face of makeup, you know. All these was throughout the years of practicing makeup and getting my style and what I like, what I didn't like, and all that. So I will usually let my primer set in, and then I do have eye primer. Now again, throughout the years, a lot of people use concealer for the eye primer. I personally don't. I feel like that it does crease. I'm also very dry eyelids, so I also like a sticky base. This Milani, I love Milani. You guys ever try Milani? This primer is really good. Lasts for a long time. You only need an itty bitty mouth. Then you let it set for a few minutes. So while this is setting, and after you let your foundation primer set, this is also a clear one, so it does like get rid of like redness on veins, things like that, because it's a nude base. So I take it all the way up to my eyebrow, because you do, like, if you wear shadow, you will take it all the way up here, so you need, of course, something to keep the shadow on. Yeah, for me, again, you're going to school, you probably don't want a full coverage or a full foundation, so you could either do a skin tint, alright, you could do a no makeup look, which is basically a primer course. You could do like a powder foundation, and then you have like, you could do some liquid blush, a little bit of bronzer, some eye stuff, lip, you know, setting spray, and there you go. That's simple, quick, and easy. For me, again, I'll show you what exactly in a way that I did. So when after I put a primer, I realized it was the best. I did put on powder foundation because at the time, actually back then, I don't think we had powder or liquid or anything like that. So for now, I'm going to put on my powder foundation for Milani, but for that, I'm going to put on some liquid bronzer, cream bronzer, and cream blush. So, like, this is kind of how I would do. And then, of course, you have concealer, which some people on, and what I've learned is that sometimes you can put it on before you put on the cream products, on the liquid products. But what I've learned throughout the years is started doing is that I do it afterwards. Especially if you put on too much, it kind of cancels out. It kind of hides the, like, the over, like if you put like too much blush, and if it's like a very pigmented, very, you know, bold blush, which normally you don't do, because like I said, you're going to school, you know you want to look good, but you don't want to go overboard and look like you're dressed up and going out for the night. So, you know, type of like that. So, yeah, so all that. And frankly, like I said, all I did really was just eyes, lips, mascara, lip product. That was it. Like, that was my thing back then. Very little, you know, makeup. So I would take, and like I said, I've done this for years. So I would take the bronzer, and this is like literally a no makeup type thing. So you get a bronzer. Again, depending on the shade, depends your color and all that. I like a very neutral type bronzer. I don't like anything too warm, anything too cool. You know, back then was into sculpting, was into like doing cheekbones, sculpting and all that. So, like I said, I learned through this through time. But yeah, I would just, you know, put on a little bit of bronzer. If I had any. Yeah, stuff like that. So, it was, you know, like I said, just a little bit of that. And that brings your face to life. And especially if you put on foundation maybe a little too light for you, which you try to get foundation close to your skin color. But bronzer kind of like brings you back to the start before all that. So yeah, this is what you call a makeup, no makeup type of thing. So, and then you can also do it around your neck, you know, pull it down your neck and get that, you know, kind of like, okay, this is what I look like down below, so I have to do a little matchy match. Then, like I said, when it comes to blush, I would go light. I would go something not bold, something that is not out of this world. It's very easy to blend, very natural, but put together. So I'm going to use my NYX Sweet Cheek one. This is very good. I actually do like it. It's one that has like the little thing, little doe-foot. And it's a very beautiful, like neutral pink, almost mauve color. Very light, very syrup, and all that. So I would dot some on my cheeks. And this does not ruin my foundation or my tint or anything like that. So, yeah. So I would kind of like dot everywhere, you know, right where the cheeks are to get some color in me. And then I would you could take a sponge if you're just starting out, or a blender, a brush, which I will show you. So the brush I love using is, you guys are into the e.l.f. brushes. These are very, very good. They blend amazingly. So as you can see, it blends out beautifully, and it looked like you just woke up and you're there and you're alive and all of that. So it gives you that, you know, look, I'm alive, I exist type thing. So either one works. So yeah, so if you're into concealer, again, you could do light concealer, you could do full coverage, you could do any type of concealer that really you enjoy, that again is not too dark or too light. It's kind of like you kind of want to go a shade or two light when it comes to like your foundation. So foundation, you want to get the closest match to your skin. With concealer, and I kind of stand first day of school, you're going to want concealer to cover like blemishes or dark spots, or, you know, if you didn't get a good night's sleep the night before, those dark circle eyes, if you're starting to get those, you know, to make you look more bright, more awake. So yeah, when it comes to that, you might want to get like a shade 1 or 2 lighter than your foundation. That's it. You go too light, you look like a ghost. You go too dark, it's not good. So I go in between my concealers. I finally found the one that I was looking for. Okay, this one, the Lifter, Maybelline Lifter. A lot of people didn't like these because this is more like a light syrup type of concealer. Now, on the other hand, you got this one, which is the e.l.f., and this is supposed to be the Hydro Camo Concealer. But I kind of like use this because this is more full coverage. This is more like, you know, well, wake up, cover your dark circles type thing. A little bit, tiny bit goes a long way. But this, on the hand, I actually do like this. I feel like that this is a good shade for me. I got the shade 2, which is almost a light shade. And it does have a big doe-foot. And I just dot some like on my, underneath my eyes. Again, this is very good. And then you can do some on your nose here, any like red spots, like any pimples, any dark spots, you know, things like that to help make you look better. Then again, you can use a brush. I prefer a sponge because it will help soak up a lot of this extra stuff. But if you don't want to do that, then I suggest that you use a brush, and you can use a brush too for this. But I like using a sponge because number one, it's damp, and you always damp your sponge to where it's a little wet, not dripping, sopping wet, but wet enough to do the blending. And you can see it did the blending. And you can see I'm a little bit brighter up here, a little bit brighter there. And then once you put powder over this, which you do have to use powder if you are oily skin, if you combo, then a very light, mold-free, powder, because if you dry, then it will look cakey, look too dry, and all that. Some people that dry, they know if you use powder, they just use spray. For me, like I said, I am very particular of what type of spray I use, because again, I don't want to look more drier or more cakey, or look like I'm dry as a bone. So very particular with what I use a lot of times when we come to that. So yeah, but as you can see, once you blend this out, and again, like I said, there is smaller blenders here. There's this one you can use, and it will get up to like the corner and everything, and just kind of like tap it, and it'll soak up like all the extra one, and kind of like make it like more smooth, more blendable. So yeah, so this is pretty much how your face looks if you're doing this simple no makeup look, nice and natural type of look, which I love. I love the natural aspect of this because I don't get too dressy uppy, because I feel like that if I do, then it doesn't look right. There's very special occasions during holidays. I got dressed up when I went to a prom in 10th grade with my ex-boyfriend / ex-husband when we first started going out. So it was, yeah, that was the only reason that I would literally get dressed up for. Okay, so for powder, I like using my, if I could find it, which I know I have. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I decided to use my banana brightening powder. Now, this ain't it. It got cracked. You guys know about Essence, the little compacts tend to get cracked very easily. So what I did is I took my old Flower Beauty from Beauty Bakery thing, empty it was empty, and I decided to put my banana powder. And actually, it tended to work a lot better that way, which is kind of shocking in a way. So again, this would look like, I'm actually panning it, so I would take, you can either take a powder puff and slightly do that, or you take a brush, which I like to use this brush, and you tap off the accent, and you just lightly dot it around where you have your concealer. This will brighten you up. Like the banana powder from Essence is a very, very good powder. I do actually like it, but the fact that the packaging broke, that I don't like. So yeah, so as you can see, it does do the brightening. It does, just put everywhere you put your concealer, and you have that little brightening effect. You can see I'm looking more awake. I'm looking like I'm ready. It's still natural, but I still got color in me. Things like that. So after you do that, you can also do a setting spray. Again, depends on what type of setting spray you like. Setting powder you like. Again, it may be a powder foundation, which I'm going to use a Milani one. It may be a regular setting powder that is nice and light and does not make you look cakey, anything like that. Again, you can use a puff, you can use a brush, which I like using. That give you nice light coverage. So like I said, it just depends, and it will set everything down, but also keep it on for a long period of time. Now the Milani one actually does a good job. I actually do like this. I don't use it often, again, because it is towards dry skin. Towards oily skin, because it's shine proof and all of that. But if you're shiny and oily, then this is perfect for you. Okay, so that is basically a basic face look. Now when it comes to eyes, like I said, the primer is all dry. So for that, again, when it came to that, I was nice and simple and easy. So what I did, I would take a bronzer, and this is a trick I learned years ago too. I didn't have like the basic needs. I did have the basic needs. So I had the bronzer, the blush, the lip product, the eye product, So what I had to do is that I learned through watching YouTube and everything that you can take your bronzer, a neutral bronzer, and you can use it to pretty much do a crease. So basically, you'll take your bronzer. It's not only to bronze your face, and you can use it as that to get more color, but then you have that cream underneath to do that. And then you take this, and you have to have, like, it came with brushes, so I used a brush before I got the good ones and able to buy my own good ones. You take a nice fluffy brush, and basically you just do window motion, kind of like outside on the edge too, and this could be your only crease color. And again, it gives you definition. It will give you more look. It will give you like you actually have eyeshadow on your crease, and it will not go. It will be nice and not too harsh. And again, I'm so glad that didn't break. Once you do this, and then you find a nice fluffy, like a really good fluffy, and I'll show you my favorite. This right here is my favorite. And you can tell because I had to tape it up. This very old, I had it for a long time. It's the only good fluffy brush I found, and that I continue using. I have not found any other brush as like this. So yeah, this blends the product out so well that it's almost like it's there but not there. You can always close your eyes, look up, and you have some definition there. So that's all. If you don't want to do no more, that's all is great. But if you want to add some eyeshadow, some color, and all of that, and know the fact that this is almost fall, and now I'm into fall. You guys can see in my previous video. I'm gonna take this, and this is the Jumbo NYX Multi one, and this is in the shade, and I don't know how the shade. The other one says Vanilla Ice that I have on here, but this for some reason don't have the shade. Use, but it's the brown one, and it looks like that. So very cool. So basically, like I said, if you want to add eyeshadow, you can. And this is a cream eyeshadow, so they'll be easier to use than a powder. And this gives you, again, some extra definition, and this will be perfect for a one-look eyeshadow. And that way you wouldn't have to fuss with that. And again, if you take that fluffy brush, not that one, my favorite one, and you just pretty much do this, it kind of combines both the shadow and both shadows from the crease and all of that. Now again, if you want to do a little extra bedazzle, and you also, if you want a little bedazzle on the cheek, I know, it's a lot. But this is basically like the step of the steps. So you get a highlighter. Again, get a nice fluffy big highlighter brush. And this is where you could do the sparkle. So you could do it on the cheeks, the bridge of the nose, right above the lips, and all that. So it's like you have that glow back too. And then you can use a smaller little taper brush, like one of these. You can use same highlighter. And again, if you want to multitask, just starting, this is a great way to multitask. You can put this in the inner corner. Now sometimes it might be a little too dark, but I have a trick for that. I actually use, to make my eyeshadow a little bit lighter, I use this one right here, which is in a jumbo stick, and this is Vanilla Ice. And this will kind of lighten up in the corner and not look so deep and dark. And there you go. There's your simple, easy eye look for school. You could go more, you go bold, you go lighter, you know. Basically, you can do whatever you prefer to do when it comes to going to school. So yeah. Okay, and then what I do before I put eyelashes, and I also like this trick, I like to use a very extremely light highlighter. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Highlighter in Cheerful Bay. Now this is the matte version. I like using it for the brow bone. And again, I like using the same brush and tap some off, and it kind of light your eyes up more, and that kind of gives you like a little more definition and stuff. So it looks like you have eyeshadow on, but it doesn't look like you have eyeshadow on. Then you can also, when it comes to eyebrows, like if you are pro filling eyebrows, I could do that. But for me, when I was younger, when it comes to eyebrows, I started to learn about eyebrow gel tints. And the e.l.f. one, literally the e.l.f. one, the first one I bought, and that was my eyebrows for the day. I would just use this, fill it in, and there you go. I realized this was not only a brow tint, but gel tint too, and it worked for me. I loved the way my eyebrows came out, so I didn't have to worry about fussing or anything like that. It took, less than a few minutes to fill it in, and I was fine the way it was. So, and I did my makeup at school in the bathroom, so yeah, that was fun. Okay, and then for setting spray, again, if you are very dry, then I would get more hydrating that melts in your powders. If you are oily, you get oily throughout the day, I would do a more long-lasting matte type one. But I'm going to do the Makeup Forever Mist and Fisk. This is the hydrating one, which I love. And a plus project pan. This is great. I'll be using a lot of these type of sprays during the winter or fall when it starts to get more drier. And then, of course, that is the finished look. Now, for the face and the eyes. Lips on hand is very, your opinion. You could do lip liner, which I did back then. So, with fall and all that, I am going to do a more fall look lip. So, I'm going to take one of my Tarte Loup Magicure in Dusty Rose, which is more of a mauve rose and gray for this time of year. And I tend to line my lips. Again, you guys do lip liner, lipstick, lip glosses. You can do whatever you want. But again, this was me. That I was a big fan of lip glosses. So, yeah. So I will line my lips, and again, the kit had lip glosses. So I didn't get into like lipstick, anything like that, liquid lipstick, until I was again much older and started exploring the makeup more. But this was me. I would line my lips with what I had, and then I would use a lip gloss. And I think I'm going to use this one right here from Nude by Nature, and this is called Liquid Lip Syrup in Honey Peach. And I know it looked very peachy, but if you really look at it, it's kind of like orange in a way. So it's one of those cluck-up ones. So very smooth and all of that. So this will be my lip during school. So yeah, that is pretty much full face, using makeup, going back to school, and all of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed some tips, some, you know, inspiration to going back to school and when it comes to makeup and everything. So hope you guys have a lovely day and night wherever you guys are. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. And I will see you next time in my next video. Until then, bye.